If you're running a Shopify store or a drop shipping, you're probably missing at least one of the 11 critical elements that every high converting Shopify landing page has. These critical elements can be the difference between you scaling to 8 figures or your store going bankrupt. It's that serious. I'm Ryan, and I built my brand Tru Earth from $0 to $10 million in revenue in 1 year. I've also helped other e-commerce brands scale to 8 figures too. I've pinpointed the 11 key elements that every high converting Shopify landing page has. Yes, 11. I'm going to break them down one by one in this video with examples so you fully understand what the 8 and 9 figure Shopify stores know that most people don't. Bookmark this for later. All right, so diving straight in, this is going to be the beginner's guide for $100 million converting landing page structure. And I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions with an example. I'm going to use a brand called Javi who make an amazing D2C coffee so that you fully understand what you need to do, what elements you need to have on your page so that you can be successful. And I mean, chances are, if you're watching this, you've probably messed around a little bit with e-commerce, or maybe you're knee deep in it. Excuse me. But a lot of people send customers straight to the PDP. They send all of their traffic from Facebook. They send all of their traffic from Google. They send all of their traffic from organic and email to the same product description page that has the buy box at the top with the price. And I'm telling you right now that every test that I've done has demonstrated that when you properly address what level of awareness your consumer is at and you send them to the right page based on where they are in their journey, you're going to see at least a 25% increase in conversion rate. I've seen considerably higher as well. But if you know the messaging that your buyer needs in order to make a purchase, and you can construct it in the way that I'm about to share with you, you should see a huge lift in conversion, which means if you get a 25% lift in conversion, that means you're spending the cost of acquisition is going down dramatically. This can, like I said earlier, this can be the difference between scaling to 8 figures or not making any money at all. I've seen these landing pages as much as double conversion rate. I've looked at pages that had a 1% conversion rate, dialed in all of these elements, and were able to push their landing page from like 1% to 2% or 2% to 4%. But there's 11 key things that you need to have on these pages that cover all of the buyer's questions, taking them from probably problem aware all the way down to most aware in the process, giving them all of the ammunition that they need, answering all the questions that they need answered to make a buying decision, ideally on their first visit. So we're going to go through them one by one, but before I jump in, I want to just make a little disclaimer that sending everybody to a landing page isn't always going to be a winner. There are people that are very close to buying who are the most aware audience. Before I jump into that, there's 5 levels of awareness. There's unaware, there's problem aware, there's solution aware, there's product aware, and there's most aware. The people who are product aware and most aware sometimes just need a really great offer to push them over the edge. More so the people who are most aware. So with that disclaimer, I'm going to jump into the next part here. The reason why I said that leading with a buy box is a problem is because with direct response advertising, if somebody is not solution aware yet, at this point, your goal is to keep them as emotional as possible. So there is something called transactional analysis or transactional psychology. And it's basically, it dictates the steps that people go through before they make a purchase. And it breaks down into three different groups here. The first is child. The acronym for this is CAP: child, adult, and parent. We're going to start with the child. The child is how you want to start your relationship with this potential consumer. You want to get them excited about the benefit or the end state that your product is going to give them. You want them to imagine how their life is going to be different after they use the product. When you jump to the buy box, you're immediately taking the consumer out of this child state and you're moving them to the adult state. The adult state is more logical. So if you take somebody out of emotional state, they can't get themselves hyped up about the idea of what things could be like in the future. The adult state looks at like kitchen table logic. If your product is expensive or they haven't been demonstrated the value that they're going to receive, the adult is going to be like, nope, that's too expensive. Let's not even continue reading this. We can't afford it. Because they're not hyped up about the potential outcome. They're looking for logical reasons to purchase your product. I've bought a number of iPads in the past. Most of them I haven't used very much. I've always done this with myself. I'm basically looking for confirmation bias in my head for why I need to buy this product. With an iPad, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be able to take this to meetings. I don't have to lug my laptop. I'll be able to use this handy Apple pen, which, I'm still not super happy with, but I'll be able to use that to write notes. I'll digitize them, blah, 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 blah. I just basically tell myself all these reasons why this is a good product for me. But I'm only going to start making positive confirmation bias, kitchen table logic, if I started by getting emotional and getting emotionally excited. So if the child in me isn't elevated, the adult is just going to shut it down before I even move forward. And once you've kind of verified the logic to the benefits, you've proven that this is something that is valuable to you and it's something that you want and something you can see in your life, we're going to bring in the parent. This is the final stage in transactional analysis or transactional psychology. And it's essentially, it's the critical parent. The critical parent is looking for reasons why they shouldn't buy your product. What's different about this than things I've tried before? What features make this different? Is there some sort of, how can you reverse the risk here? Things like risk reversals, money back guarantees, as well as busting the 5 types of risk that people consider subconsciously, which are what kind of time risk is there? What's the risk to my identity? What's the monetary risk? What's the energy risk that using this or trying this is going to use? And what's the reputation risk? What are people going to think about me? So consider how you bust those objections. So when we look at these 3 states, child, adult, and parent, the goal is to take the potential consumer from an emotional state, elevate them so they're excited about the potential outcome through logic, which confirms the biases that they and the benefits that they think they're going to get when they're in that elevated emotional state, and then bust the objections that the critical parent has about why this is different than the other things they've tried to solve this problem. How are we going to eliminate the risk for this person so that they know that if the product doesn't work for them, there's nothing for them to lose? That's how you make an irresistible offer. But now that we have kind of given you the outline on that, let's jump into what we're going to be doing. So typically, if you're using Facebook ads, you're probably using some form of direct response advertising. If they're not most aware, the bottom of the funnel where they're just looking for deals, chances are your cold traffic is generally going to come in child form. They're excited about the potential outcome. They're excited and they're emotionally charged about your product, and you want to continue to keep them in that state for as long as possible so that they beg their parents, which is also them, to buy the product. We want the parent to be emotionally biased towards the outcome of buying the product. And what I mean by that is that, generally speaking, more intelligent people are actually more biased and use confirmation bias more than less intelligent people. So the goal here is to make the child elevated and excited so that when the parent takes over and starts using logic, that they can justify all the emotional response that the child's had leading up to this point. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's go to the actual 11 different elements. And for this, we are going to use a brand called Javi. All right, so we're going to jump into the first and probably arguably one of the most important elements of your page. It is the hero or header section. This is generally going to consist of a hero image of your product. Sometimes it's a video of the product in use if there's not a strong relevancy or understanding of exactly what your product does, as well as a headline that's generally benefit driven, as well as you'll typically see some your number of reviews and star rating. And this is really common across e-commerce brands because it works so well. So in this example, I'm going to use Javi, and they kind of go away a little bit from what I was talking about with the buy box having the price at the top. However, Javi usually pushes people to some sort of 5 reasons why type article before they get to this page. So they've kind of elevated the person's experience before they get here. I can make another video in the future, or I will make another video in the future that breaks down the different types of listicle advertorials, but today we're going through this. So this is one of their landing pages. They are constantly testing new ones, but as you can see, they've got a strong headline up here: the fastest, easiest, and most convenient coffee. They've snuck some offers in here since the people are coming in here a little bit warmer. They've got the number of stars with the number of reviews, which is incredibly important because it demonstrates social proof. There's a bit of a call to action here to select your flavors, but it's kind of keeping some of the information until the end. If you're going to be building a page, I would highly suggest doing a bunch of tests on 2 things on this part of the page. First of all, the headline. Again, it's very, very important and is usually one of the biggest causes of people's decision-making frameworks. I would test that, and I would test the image to verify people understand what's going on. Like with Tru Earth, it's a laundry detergent. If it shows up, if there's a picture of a package like this, people have no idea that it's a laundry detergent strip. They think maybe it's powder or something. So if your product isn't the easiest to understand, consider testing in-use images and even videos. Some other interesting stuff that's happening on this particular hero header as well is they've got a timer with a special offer. They're naming it so that people don't just think it's always going, because these guys always have deals. They do have some risk reversal, which is parent, and then they do mention that you're part of a subscription. So onto the next section. The next section is, since people are coming in here, we've given them some of the benefits, the reasons why they should consider trying our product. We want to lead into the benefits. the goal here is to get the person reading more about what other benefits there are around the product. We want to elevate the inner child in them so that they can tell their parent exactly what it is, how their life is going to be different. Let me show you what Javi's page looks like. So Javi's page is super interesting. It took a second to load. Javi's page is super interesting here. They go back to leaning more into benefits. So delicious coffee in literally seconds, faster than instant, better tasting than gourmet, and easier than coffee pods. So not only are they telling you benefits, they're kind of giving you ammunition for your kitchen table logic of the parent. What's cool here is they're killing two birds with one stone because they're literally showing you put the product into the cup and how easy it is to make the coffee. These benefit bullets here lead with a little bit of instructions. So not only are you learning exactly how you are going, what benefits you're going to get, but it's also teaching you how to use the product. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1. That's basically where you're going to want to demonstrate what the product is going to do for the consumer. A lot of times you'll see like an image of the product with little lines and it'll explain it, but it's very important that you lead with benefits and not features. Features are like product specs. You want to make sure that people understand what the product does for them and not what the product is composed of. All right, on to number 3. I call this the featured review. So this is where you want to demonstrate your press coverage as well as your top reviews from individual customers or potential celebrities, influencers. These are a great place to put these. We're not just talking about your review widgets defaulting that pops in here. We want to go and we want to extract the best ones that overcome objections and make people get really excited about your product. So with Javi, you can see here, they've got this little spinner thing that shows all the different places that it's been featured with a little note. They've also chosen 3 particular verified buyer testimonials to showcase here. This is just one iteration of their landing page. To give you another example, on this version, right under their header or their hero, they have as seen on, and then they place the featured reviews. So you have your featured as seen on, and then you have your reviews. And these got this particular page, they tested it sandwiched between as the bread with the sandwich of basically showing how it's used with the benefits. The next thing that they're going to do is they're going to show us how the product works. So especially if there's something complicated or it's doing something new, think about Slap Chop, which was a 1990s infomercial that was amazing. The guy had this product and you would put it over top of a vegetable and you'd smack it and it would chop the vegetable into a million pieces. He demonstrated like 30 different vegetables that it could snip up and he showed how to clean it. It's amazing. This is especially true if this is some kind of invention or you have some sort of claim or benefit that people might not believe. Like this little strip of laundry can clean your clothes. Show putting in a dirty shirt, output coming a clean shirt. But we want to make sure that people know how to use it as well. And that's what we're going to do in this section. So on Javi's page, this is how easy it is to use. Quick, easy, and delicious. Step 1, fill your mug with hot or cold water. Step 2, drop 1 to 2 tablespoons of Javi into your water or milk and add your favorite creamer, flavoring, or topping. Super simple. If I'm considering this product, I'm like, okay, that's easy enough to use. There's not like some magical step. I don't need to boil things and mix it and blend it. I bought products before that were powders and they clumped. I needed to like almost emulsify it in order to get it to work. This explains precisely what to expect when I go to use the product. The next section is literally making an offer. So there's two Javi pages that I want to show you. So both of them have this save up to 56%. This one says buy two, get one free plus 3 gifts. This one's save up to 56% with 4 free gifts. So what's cool here is they built in this mechanism to increase the average order value. What you see here is if I buy 4, if I'm just getting one, it shows I'm going to get this free gift. It's a recipe booklet. Doesn't cost them anything. It's probably a PDF. They send it to me for free. If I get 2 bottles, I qualify for free shipping. That's a $6 value. So now I've got $16 because I'm going to buy 2. I'm like, well, I'm going to drink 2 anyways. There's a few flavors I kind of like. Well, what do I get if I get 3? So I get the magic spoon. The magic spoon's a $10 value. If I buy 3 things, the spoon's probably the exact measurement that makes it easy to use the product. But if I get 4, which really isn't that bad if I'm thinking about it, I'm going to get a mystery gift valued at $29.95. So right out the gates, they're incentivizing me to increase my order value. And if I order by June 25th, which is a couple days away, I think I'm going to get some free gifts. So I'm going to click select flavors and I can quickly, it tells me how many more I need to add. Boom, boom, boom. And all my gifts are unlocked. So they've made this offer and they've even done a little objection busting. One problem I see a lot of people make is they either send somebody to a completely different page, which actually sometimes does win. So if you make sure you test this. But a lot of brands now are moving towards embedding the buy box in the landing page so the person doesn't need to click a bunch of times to get to the checkout. Reduce friction, increase conversion rate. So number 6, the 6th critical element is reviews. You gotta have reviews. You gotta have social proof. You need to have people understanding that they're not the first person out there. They've probably bought something from people and it was either a dropship product or it wasn't well thought out, but people respond to knowing that other people are using the product. And like typically you'll see, all the written reviews, people come through here and they look to see if there's any particular things that are annoying about the product. But in modern e-commerce, having visual social proof is so powerful because you can see people actually using the product, consuming the product, or giving you an explanation of why they like this product or what it's done for them or how it's changed their life. And they have plastered the video reviews all over this page so that you can consume them.
Okay, I'm gonna show you how I make my favorite iced coffee.
On the fly, one click.
Hey everyone,
super easy. Clearly, if they have this many videos, a lot of people have tried the product. Plus it says 19,453 people, averaging a 4.8 rating. I was looking at a table with my wife just before I was recording this video, and we were looking at buying it off Amazon. And I didn't even think about my process for making the purchase, but I wouldn't have even considered buying the table if it didn't have 1,000 reviews that were 4.8 stars. I saw them like, okay, I looked at like 2 or 3 reviews to see what people said. I was like, all right, I'm good. Just buy it. It's $100. Cheap table. Let's do it. The rating's great. So when they see this level of social proof, massive increase in conversion. Make sure that you at least have written reviews. And if you have video reviews, you're going to see a massive improvement in conversion rate. The next thing we have, this is going to really cater to this is going to be the product aware level, which is somewhere between the adult and the parent. And what we're trying to do here is we want to showcase why our product is better than the competitors. This is when you want to demonstrate features, because this particular section is specifically for people that are either they're looking at a few different options and they want to see which ones are better based on their composition or their product specs or the different features that they offer. Like, why should I pick this one over the other? This is, again, really leaning into that area between parent and adult. The adult's like, why is this different than the other ones? If we look at Javi as an example, we have this how do we compare. Basically shows they're comparing to pods and instant coffee. And right here, they're giving themselves all checks. They've got their price. I would probably have a couple of checks for the other products just because it makes it feel a lot more believable than if you have all checks and they're all X's. It just sounds like, okay, well, we're biased too. If we can't say anything positive about the other guys, we're probably just trying to push you to convert. They have a couple of the benefits and stuff rolling around right underneath the how we compare. But this is a great section for people who have moved beyond solution aware or into product aware and are trying to figure out why this brand over the competitor. All right, on to number 8. And this is super important. It's the frequently asked questions. Every single question is not going to be answered in your landing page leading up to this point. They're not going to be in your benefits. They're not going to be in your whys. They're not going to be in your testimonials. Sometimes people are going to have questions that just aren't answered, and they're going to need to know them in order to make a purchase. These questions you're typically going to discover when people start reaching out to customer service and ask things. So I would make sure that you're logging all the incoming questions and start to rank them. And this is one of those sections that I really like to review with a tool like Hotjar or heat maps, because we want to see, this is Javi's, we want to see what of these people are clicking on. And ideally, we want to put the most commonly asked questions higher up in the frequently asked questions. And if there's something that's being asked so much that people are constantly coming down here and having to review these, sometimes you can implement those into your benefits or into one of the other areas of your page so that it's more upfront and center. It's a great way to see, like using heat map, you can come in here and you can see which of these are clicked the most and then test putting them higher up. It gives you great insights into what buyer questions need to be responded to before they'll make the purchase. The next item on the menu here is risk reversal. So I was talking about that earlier. There's 5 types. The acronym's timer. There's time. How much of my time is it going to take for me to use this product or get this product? This is where giving people dates that they're going to receive it by is extremely valuable. Identity. How am I going to feel about myself when I use this product? Am I like a super eco-friendly person who doesn't use single-use plastics and these all come in single-use plastics? Am I going to have cognitive dissonance about myself because I'm buying a product that doesn't go towards my morals? Obviously you can't bust that for every single objection, but you want to make it so that your product doesn't interfere with somebody's identity. Like you're not using some whale blubber that's from a rare or endangered species and that anybody who has a heart is going to be like, I can't use this. M is monetary. Money is a risk to people when they're buying e-commerce things. Javi has theirs in 2 places. One is, what if I don't like my Javi product after purchasing? And They say here, we stand by the quality of our products and are confident that you will be satisfied with your purchase. If for any reason you're not happy with our products, we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's what this one says. And this one has, where is the other one? This guy has the money-back guarantee right below the select flavors option, which is great because we've got that out of the way. It's not a huge amount of information for them to consume. They can see it right there and move forward with the process. The other two risk factors in the timer are energy. So how much effort is it going to take for me to use this product or get the results that I'm expecting? And the R is for reputation. What are other people going to think about me when I use this product? I don't think there's a huge risk in what people think about you when you're putting concentrates into your coffee, but who knows? Maybe you work in some special organic coffee bean factory, and that could be a risk for you. But obviously you can't bust everything, but trying to cover the biggest ones, which you can also find in your customer service questions, is a great way to satisfy critical parent. All right, on to number 10. So Javi doesn't specifically do this, but I love to test this, and that is halfway through the page or every couple sections, I like to sprinkle in buttons that can allow people to skip reading and jump back to making the purchase. So you don't want somebody to have to scroll all the way back up after they've read halfway through your page. I like to sprinkle like a select flavors or buy now button here and maybe here and maybe one at the bottom. And that can slide you right back up here where they can make that choice. I found through tests that it's incremental in conversion rate, but again, I'm sure Javi has tested the heck out of this on this page, but I would implore you to test it yourself because I've seen it incredibly valuable for my own brands. And the last final thing, and this one is so often overlooked, it's the footer. Some people's footers will have like 100 different links in them. They'll have all their social media. They'll have links to like their blog and all sorts of places on their site. That's great if it's your regular homepage. Don't get me wrong. If it's general navigation, but when you're paying, $2 to $4 a click from Meta or from Google, and you have these links on your footer that a considerable amount of people are going to click through and get distracted and maybe forget about buying, you are lighting money on fire. So having a simple footer is incredibly important. Let's look at Javi's. They basically give you some details specifically about the offer, when it expires, and they have their privacy policy and their terms of service. These two links are required generally for advertising because Meta or /Facebook and Google, they all want that for your consumer to know exactly what they're getting themselves into and what information you might be sharing of theirs with other people. So outside of those, keep your footer dead simple. And those are the 11 critical Shopify landing page elements that you need to scale your e-commerce brand to 8 figures and beyond. But here's the thing. Knowing what to do is only half the battle. Click over here and click on this video to learn exactly what I do if I had to start from scratch and build to $100 million. I'll see you in the next video.